All right, what's up, fellas and ladies? It's time for Wake Up Mintzy. We're coming to you not live from the Barstool Sports office. We're up here. We got some energy. We're chugging some Stella Blue coffee, and I'm joined. Special guest today in studio, Cubs reporter Taylor McGregor. What's up, Taylor? How are you doing?
What's going on? I don't have my coffee because, true story, I was drinking like 5 cups of coffee a couple of years ago, and I was like, I'm going to die of a heart attack if I keep this up. So I had to change to amino energy. Have you ever had any?
I have not.
Okay, well, it's like a pre-workout, and this is my form of coffee, so I'm going to be chugging this as you're chugging your coffee.
All right, well, I'm going to continue, as always, to chug Stella Blue coffee. Shout out Big Cat. Check out their cold brew flavors. Perfect for summertime. My personal favorite, the blueberry, but I got some hot coffee because I'm trying to get fired up and get energy because unlike Taylor, I still drink 3 to 4 cups of coffee a day. It's pretty bad.
I might get back into it if I have some of that. So
no, that's Stella Blue. It's good stuff.
Go.
And hey, and you're supporting Big Cat, and it's named after his dog Stella. And there's a Grateful Dead song called Stella Blue. Well, first of all, I want to welcome Taylor into the studio. Very fun journey you've had. I met Taylor. I guess this was 2 years ago on the Tulane sideline. You work for the Cubs, but you also do football in the fall.
Yeah.
And you're just like traveling all over the country.
Yeah. So I think we met twice, right? That season. One was it was a Tulane-Cincinnati game when Cincinnati was the number 2 team in the country. And I remember that game felt pretty big because if Cincinnati loses that game, they don't go to the college football playoff and blah, blah, blah.
And Tulane fought them that game.
They fought them. Then that was kind of the start of when you saw Tulane begin to turn things around. And then obviously the following year for them, they went on to win the Cotton Bowl, beat USC, and they've had a nice little journey since. But then I think I saw you again that season on Ole Miss sideline, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, we're just all over the South together. I cover college football. It's so much fun. And I think one of the most rewarding parts of the job is getting to meet people like you on the sideline.
Oh.
You never know who you're going to see on the sidelines of a college football game.
That's for dang sure. As always, Wake Up Mintzy, sponsored by the fine folks of Dude Wipes. They're taking over the toilet paper world. It's a revolution. One use of Dude Wipes will change your life. Amazon, Target, Walmart, and nationwide. Look, it's fun to be sponsored by a product that's so good. My old man's on them. You should be too. Check out Dude Wipes. All right. A lot of stuff to get to with Taylor, so I kind of want to get her background. So you're from Colorado originally?
I am, yep. I was born in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I ended up going back to the University of Arkansas, but I was raised the majority of my life in Golden, Colorado, just outside of Denver, and it was wonderful. We've also connected over the fact that we both love widespread panic.
It's a fact. Tough week for that right now.
I know, it is. But I fell in love with live music because I got to go to Red Rocks all the time. So that's kind of, my connection to Colorado. It was great growing up there. Went to Arkansas. Shout out the SEC. That's really where I fell in love with college football. And after a few other stops, now I'm in Chicago. We're both in Chicago.
I know.
Let's go.
I know. It's wild. So you were born in Fayetteville, Denver. You're up here. I'm from North Louisiana. Somehow made it up here. But, hey, I love Chicago. Look, I'll say this. This is my first full summer here, and the hype on the summertime Chicago is massive, and it lives up to it in every way. And being from Louisiana, where it's like 100 with 100% humidity every day, and I'm just like walking home from work, and it's like 75 with a breeze. I mean, I don't see how you could beat this.
So it's cool with the Cubs because we play day games on the weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the visiting team and the visiting team reporters, oftentimes I'll take them out to dinner and we'll go around Chicago. And like every reporter is like, I can't believe this is your life in the summer. Like we get to still do the job we love. And then at night we get to go hang out around the city, go to these fancy dinners, have a good time. And so it's one of the places that everybody else in the league is like, I am so jealous of your life. And I'm like, yeah, it's the greatest city in the world in the summer, and especially with the Cubs, the day games, like it's the best.
Yeah, I mean, Wrigley Field. It can't be
Wrigley Field.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you grow up going to Red Rocks and then you work at Wrigley Field. I think you've got two of the greatest American places. Wow. So you grew up in Colorado, and then when it came time to pick a college, you had some ties to Arkansas, and you knew you wanted to go to the SEC?
Yeah, so So when my dad was working at the University of Arkansas, Houston Nutt was there.
Okay.
And so Houston was still the head coach at Ole Miss when I was in high school. I thought about going to Ole Miss.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I could see that.
I mean, I would have loved Ole Miss. I did go there a couple times in college and had a phenomenal time. So I was like University of Florida, Ole Miss, Arkansas. I looked at Texas. But Arkansas was just the right place for me, given my family ties. And I mean, I absolutely loved Fayetteville. I had the best time there, and super grateful I chose that place.
Yeah, and so Fayetteville, I catch a lot of crap about this because my freshman year roommate at Ole Miss transferred back to Arkansas and still lives in Fayetteville. And I'll probably hear it from Arkansas people in the Barstool, Arkansas. Never been to Fayetteville still, which is terrible on my part because I've been to almost every SEC stadium.
You haven't been to Fayetteville?
I went to LSU, Arkansas, in Little Rock when Arkansas had that great team when Ryan Mallett beat LSU and they made the Sugar Bowl and they lost to Ohio State. I was at the game they beat LSU, but I haven't been to Fayetteville, which is a shame. And like everything I always hear about Northwest Arkansas and Fayetteville, it's beautiful. It's up in the Ozarks. I know the economy's great. There's kind of a land of opportunity. It's just kind of hard to get to.
It is. That's the one tough thing about it being in the SEC. So many of the places are drivable to each other. And I remember in college being a little bummed out by how far of a drive it was to Auburn, to Alabama, to some of these other schools across the SEC, because most of them you can just drive, within a relatively short period of time. But Fayetteville sits up in Northwest Arkansas, so it's just you got to go across the whole state to get to Ole Miss, to Louisiana, to Alabama. So the location within this state isn't great, but it is 10 out of 10. Obviously I'm biased, but I think this now is, we got to get Mintzy to Fayetteville. Can we make this happen?
Yeah, we need to make it happen. I want to go. Well, it's funny.
And you should go to the Texas-Arkansas game.
Well, Ole Miss, luckily, I feel good about Ole Miss is at Arkansas this year.
Yes.
I feel usually Fayetteville's a house of horrors for Ole Miss for years. I mean, it's been
always a good game between Arkansas and Ole Miss.
Oh, always. But yeah, it's been rough in Fayetteville for Ole Miss. But I think this year I feel pretty good about it going in.
You should feel confident in Ole Miss. I've started to do a little bit of my prep for college football.
I've been doing it a ton. I've been doing a ton lately.
And I feel like Ole Miss, I mean, they've been able to score points. They've had good offenses, but they just haven't had the depth at the line of scrimmage.
And now we bought all of them.
Oh my gosh. I mean, whether you buy them or what, I mean, you guys, I think, can hang.
Oh yeah. No.
So I'm excited to see Ole Miss, and gosh, just the SEC. I literally get chills thinking about SEC football.
I do too.
And from top to bottom this year, I think it could be really fun. And look, I can say bottom because I went to Arkansas. We're picked to finish 14th in the league.
But you're picked ahead of Mississippi State, though, right?
We are picked, and shout out Brandon Walker. Maybe you're listening to this, maybe you're not. Although I do like Jeff Lebby. Covered him last year at Oklahoma. I think that was a great hire.
No, I do too. I think Lebby, he was Ole Miss OC, and then he was at Oklahoma. He's a really good hire. I just think it's going to
take some time.
Yeah, and I also don't think State really has much money in their NIL. And
so
in this day and age, that's tough.
Yeah, that is tough. But I say the bottom of the SEC because I always expect Arkansas to have a couple big wins. Now, I'm not ready to tell you they're going to be a 10-win team, but I hate to say this. They could beat an Ole Miss. They could beat an LSU.
They always fight LSU. I went last year.
They lost
34. They lost 34-31 to LSU in Baton Rouge last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they easily could have won that game.
They lost. I think there was 5 games they lost by 1 score, including Alabama, LSU.
Oh, they were winning the Ole Miss game late third quarter.
Yes. So I'm so excited for football. 5 weeks away, people. Let's go.
Heck yeah. Well, I would ask, you went to Arkansas. How did you get into sports broadcasting? Did you always know that's what you wanted to do? You were telling me off the air your dad played college football or played in the NFL for a second, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so you grew up around sports and just always loved it? Is that what happened?
Well, okay, yes, it is. I always say I sort of learned sports through osmosis. My grandfather was a legendary high school football coach in the state of Colorado, so for me, I learned football from him, and then my dad eventually got into baseball, so I learned a lot about baseball and football from him. But until I was about 14, I thought I wanted to be in the CIA.
What? How old were you when you realized you didn't want to?
I think I was 14. And honestly, it's funny. So my dad was able to get me into contact with a CIA agent, and I talked to this man. He was wonderful to me, and he basically was like, all right, you can do this and it would be awesome, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing you need to know. It's going to be really hard to have a family and you're going to be gone a lot. And so I was like, okay, well, I do want a family. That is important to me. So maybe being a CIA agent isn't the thing for me. And then I chose sports broadcasting, which, by the way, also very hard to have a family.
Oh, yeah.
And also on a lot. So clearly I was thinking through when I made my next career move. But listen, after I put the CIA thing to bed, I knew I wanted to work in sports. I just didn't know what, and kind of came to the idea that I wanted to be a sideline reporter from watching other reporters, women on TV, and thinking that would be really cool. And I'm super grateful. I'm grateful to my grandfather, my dad, for paving the way for me. Just the idea that, I could have a career in sports because both of them did. And here I am. Now I'm talking to you.
What could be better than that? Working for the Cubs and working for SEC football, just nothing compared to being in the Barstool office, Wake Up Mintzy, clearly.
Truly.
Clearly. So did you major in journalism?
I did. Broadcast journalism, the University of Arkansas, which that, to me, I really believe I work at ESPN right now because of my timing going to the University of Arkansas. So when I was there, the SEC network launched. And when the SEC network launched, essentially what they did is they went into every campus and they built a control room to be able to do digital games and linear games from every campus across the SEC. So what that did for me in college is it exposed me to not only live television, but also all the bosses and all the decision makers who were coming to campus, all the campuses across the SEC. I ended up meeting Laura Rutledge was a reporter for the SEC network when it first started. I met her. She introduced me to Steve Ackles, who ended up hiring me at at ESPN years later. So it all kind of came full circle. But yes, to answer your question, I gave you a really long answer. I did major in broadcast journalism.
Yeah, I didn't even take one journalism class at Ole Miss, and I graduated with a 2.0 in finance, and now here I am. So.
Here you are.
Yeah,
but you majored in a good time at the library, didn't you?
Yeah, I had like 3 different years at Oxford. It was so long. I graduated. I was like 31. It was.
Everybody's got their own journey.
Yeah, exactly. Misunderstanding. So you were doing some SEC Network, ESPN stuff. You get done with Arkansas. How did you wind up getting to the Cubs?
So when I graduated, I started in local news because that was sort of what I knew to get experience. So my first job was in Casper, Wyoming.
Oh, wow.
Wyoming, baby. I love the state of Wyoming. Huge fan.
What's Casper, Wyoming like?
Well, it's very remote. It's a town of like 60,000 people. And I remember Googling it online when I got a job there. I'm like, pros and cons of Casper, Wyoming. And there was 2 cons. The weather gets very cold and windy, and the other con was remote. Like, it's 4 hours away from Denver, which is the closest big city. So there's just not a lot around. There's 500,000 people who live in the entire state, and it's a massive state. So very remote, but I'm really into the outdoors, and so loved my time being able to get outdoors. I got really into triathlons when I was there.
Oh, wow.
So I did the MS ride, which is 150 miles on a bike. Like, I was in the best shape of my life when I lived there and loving life outdoors, just doing all these fun things, in addition to the job and kind of getting experience. So that was wonderful. I went from there back to Arkansas to work in local news in Little Rock. And then when I was there,
a little different than Wyoming.
Little different, back to the SEC country. And it was cool because I got to cover Arkansas, my alma mater, which was fun. But like 3 months into the job there, the Rockies job came open. And obviously I had grown up in Colorado. My dad worked for the Rockies. So like, to me, that was a dream gig. And I felt like it was a really good chance for me to kind of take that next step. And it's hard to get a job in baseball. There's only 30 jobs. So I had interned after my freshman year with what was then Root Sports, then became AT&T Sportsnet, basically the TV home of the Rockies. I had interned there, so I had a lot of relationships with the people there, and I reached out and was like, hey, I have, at that point, 3 years of experience in the industry. Here's my reel. I would love an opportunity. And after, several back and forth interactions, they hired me, thank goodness. And I was there for a couple years. And then in 2019, I had also interned at MLB Network when I was in college. And in 2019...
So you kind of got a resume going here.
I was a professional intern. I mean, I had like a bazillion internships. So I always tell girls or boys, whoever, if you want to get in this industry, for me, what really helped were the internships. But anyway, so in 2019, a guy that I had interned under at MLB Network was helping to launch Marquee. And I was put into contact with him, and basically he asked if I would want to come join the Cubs. And to be honest, at first I was like, I don't think so, because I was at home. I was so comfortable with that job. And then I came to Chicago and I was like, wait a second. I think I want to come here. And of course it's the Cubs, like just
history.
Yeah. It's Wrigley Field. It was, and I started to talk to people at the Rockies, and they were like, you got to take this. Like, what are you doing? And I'm so thankful that they challenged me to do so, because it has been such an amazing move for me. I love that job so much. I work with such amazing people. I get to call Wrigley Field my office, and it's really just been an awesome job.
So you moved up here, what, 2019?
So it was the end of 2018. I moved up here. I was supposed to move up here in March of 2020. We all know what happened that month. And so I ended up moving before the COVID shortened season in like end of June of 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you've been up here, I guess. Wow, it's crazy. That's 4 years
Isn't
ago
that
now.
insane?
I know.
Time
It's
flies.
like days become months, become years.
It's crazy.
So, okay, so you've got to travel all over the country for baseball, football. I want to hear some of your, well, actually, before I get into your favorite venues, shout out on y'all making American history 2 weeks ago.
Oh, thank you.
First ever all-female broadcast team for Major League Baseball game. That's like American history. That's what was that like to be a part of?
Well, I've been saying this, and I mean this sincerely. It was so much more about Beth Mowins and Elise Menaker than it was about me, because they're the two women who were holding roles for that broadcast that women predominantly do not hold. The reality is a lot of women around the game are sideline reporters. That's what I do every single day. But Beth was play-by-play. Elise was the analyst. And so I felt like I was riding their coattails a little bit. I was just so grateful to be there. And it was cool for me to reflect on their journey, my journey, and just the idea and hope that, hey, this sport has a lot to offer for everyone. And hopefully there's some girls at home who could watch and say, all right, now, I was aspiring to be a reporter, but now I want to aspire to be in the booth, and, just help girls dream bigger, because that's kind of the goal, is to maybe inspire the next generation if we can. So it was awesome. And I'm grateful for the reception all across the country. I mean, I had people all over reach out to me about that. So it was really fun.
Heck yeah. Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, literally, like I said, American hit. I mean, you look at baseball, and I mean, how long has this been going on? 160, 170 years. First time ever. That's all. I mean, a lot of history in that sport. That's for sure. And so that's really cool. You get to be a part of that moment. So you've been in Chicago now 4 years. I want to ask about, because you've got to travel everywhere. So what are some of your, like, when you go on the road, what are like 1 to 3 of your favorite stadiums and cities to go to?
Okay, so for baseball, I love Dodger Stadium.
Okay.
I don't love downtown LA, but Dodger Stadium is the best. I just love the history. The Dodgers have been really good the last several years since I've, been working in the sport. So they always get good crowds and have a good team. So it's a ton of fun. Fenway, of course. Boston's amazing. Boston's a wonderful city, especially in the summer. So Fenway is up there. And for me, like growing up a Rockies fan, one of my favorite life memories was the 2007 World Series. And so,
when they won the 20 in a row.
Yeah, 20 out of 21. It was great. So being back there in April was really cool for me, because I could reflect on that year and just that ballpark. It's a lot like
I love
Wrigley,
Coors. Coors is awesome.
Oh, Coors. Yeah, Coors is great too. And then I would say being home probably. Up there. As far as college football, LSU.
The LSU night games are, I grew up going to them. It's
like,
the LSU night games it's gotten to where the big SEC ones still rock like insanely. The non-conference ones aren't necessarily as much, but those night SEC games when they're playing like Florida or Auburn or Bama or Ole Miss, whatever, it's
just
it's like Mardi Gras on campus all day.
Yeah.
No, it's literally it literally is Mardi Gras on campus. Like I forgot I hadn't done the all-day LSU tailgating in years. Like, I'd still go to some games, and I actually worked for ESPN Baton Rouge before I came up here, so I got a lot of relationships down there. And last year I did the Arkansas game was like a 7 o'clock game, and I was out on campus tailgating at 10 a.m., and I was like, I forgot how wild this is.
Yeah, it was. And I had been, as a student, Arkansas LSU, at LSU night game was amazing. And then to go back as a broadcaster, you're just, I mean, it people always ask about pinch me moments. Like doing a night game in Death Valley was a pinch me moment where I was like, I can't hear what somebody 2 feet away from me is saying, and I love every second of it. So I would say there. I also love Doak Campbell. And let me preface this by saying I did the Florida State game there a couple years ago. So I think my experience of the stadium probably a little different than like just a random ACC matchup. But like that Florida State game was lit. It was so much fun. So I just think back on like experiences that I really enjoyed, and that was at the top. I love Ole Miss. I gotta be honest though, like the pregame Ole Miss is the best in the SEC. As far as like tailgates I've been to, the Grove is insane. The stadium is really wonderful. It's not as hyped up though as the Grove to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. They've actually. Well, I gotta give Ole Miss a shout out on this. I always thought that same thing, and in the last couple years, they've changed it. And now they have like drone shows, and they got new speakers and like light shows and stuff.
Improved.
And so now it's way more turned up than it was 10 years ago.
Okay.
Like they've really gotten the atmosphere up. But I would agree with that in the past. But like that LSU game last year, like the second half was the most turned up I've ever seen.
Okay, so it's
improved.
I have yet
greatly.
to do an SEC versus SEC game there, so I'm hopeful that this season I'll get to do an Ole Miss versus an SEC opponent there to get the full experience. Because sometimes I did Ole Miss Tulane there, which was still a great matchup, but it's different than obviously like Ole Miss Alabama. So hopefully I'll get to do a bigger game there, and then I'll report back. But I love the town of Oxford. I mean, the square is so cute. The library is so much fun. It's impossible to get dinner reservations anywhere. So if you know somebody, can you help me out?
Next time, just text me, and I promise it'll be no problem. We'll get you in City Grocery immediately.
Perfect.
I can assure you that. So how does it work? Like how far in advance do you know where you're going during the season? Do you find out like the week of, a few weeks out? Like how does all that, the scheduling work?
So we find out the Sunday before the upcoming Saturday. So like all the games happen on Saturday, and then the bosses kind of have to see what happened, and then that influences the games that they want to pick. They call them the 6-day picks. That influences kind of how they pick the games, and then usually Sunday morning everybody gets an email, and it's like, all right, here's where you're going on Saturday. And so that's really when you begin your prep, is that Sunday. You have about 6 days to get ready for the two teams, and so it makes it fun. You have no idea where you're going to be 7 days before.
That's wild. And then you'll travel on what, like Thursday or Friday?
Yeah, usually Thursday night, sometimes Friday morning. I've been on crews where we do meetings with coaches in person. So you really just have to be able to be there before the coaches meetings on Friday. So if you can get a direct early Friday, you can do that. Or sometimes you have to fly in Thursday night. Just depends.
Who are some? I'm not going to have you single out ones you don't like because I'm not going to put you on the spot like that. But who are some of your favorite coaches you've got to meet?
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, off the top of my head, Rhett Lashley at SMU.
He's tearing it up. They won that.
I'm
they
really
won the
excited.
American ACC now.
I did that game actually, the American Conference
when they beat
Championship
Tulane
when they beat Tulane on my birthday, by the way. So I got to spend my
December.
birthday in New Orleans. It was great. I'm excited for what he's going to do at SMU now that they're in a major conference in the ACC. I think they're going to be able to recruit the DFW area like never before. So he's an Arkansas grad, so we have that connection. He's been wonderful to me. I really love his offense and kind of just the firepower that they play with. I just did Duke. Manny Diaz is great. I think one of the coolest, and I believe this is my job, is to like connect with the coaches. You have to get them to trust you. And
no doubt.
Like for the most part, I have enjoyed them all in different ways. They're different personalities for sure, and you have to figure out kind of how to work with them all. But I could go down. I mean, Dan Mullen, now that he's my coworker, I adore that man. He's been so wonderful to me and very insightful to me on how to do the job and help me understand what coaches are thinking and certain things to ask, not to ask. I did the Liberty Bowl with him a couple years ago, and he helped me a lot, which was great. So Yeah, I really could go. I could go down the list of guys who I've enjoyed covering.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like you have a better relationship with Dan Mullen than any of the Ole Miss people do. After how it just got so, not even just putting it all on him, but
Wait. I got a trivia question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Who was the first number 1 ranked team in the era?
State. Mississippi State.
That insane?
Yeah, it was Mississippi State.
Yeah,
That was
with him there.
Yeah, that was the crazy year in 2014 when State and Ole Miss were number 1 and number 3.
Yeah, that
and then
was a
nobody
good
could
time.
believe it happened in college football, and then that Ole Miss won the Egg Bowl and knocked them out of the SEC championship.
Good times.
Oh yeah, that game was. Yeah, that was a wild time. It was Mississippi over Auburn, Bama. That'll probably never.
And by the way, I forgot to mention Sam Pittman. That was messed up of me. I wish Sam Pittman the best at Arkansas this year. He's been so great to me and just like a big teddy bear, one of the best guys to cover. Very, very honest and transparent and open, which is what we love as reporters. So shout out to him as well. Couldn't forget that.
He seems like everybody loves him. Obviously there's. Him and Napier at Florida, probably more heat on those guys going into this year than anybody. But everybody that knows Sam Pittman loves him. So we'll see. I don't know. He's gonna have to. They're gonna have to make a bowl.
It's gonna be interesting.
They're probably gonna
Bobby
have to make
Petrino as the OC.
Yeah, I know, and it's almost kind of it's kind of weird because if something goes bad, they've got Petrino just be the interim. So I don't know. Hopefully it goes well for Pittman. But that's going to be an interesting situation to watch going forward. SEC football this year, so 12-team playoff in college football this year.
Yes.
So pumped about that.
So excited.
I think that's going to be so great for the game. And I also think the bowl game, it is what it is, but the bowl games have kind of been dying because of the transfer portal, and everybody's just worried about where they're going to play next year and not these postseason games.
But it's funny. And, this is probably going to sound like a calculated answer, but I mean this sincerely. It's like everybody always says, bowl games, they don't mean as much. But, the ratings on the bowl games are
huge.
enormous still. So it's people still care because they're tuning in to watch. And so, that's always my answer back to that question. It's people are still watching because there's still football on and people are still interested. So until the ratings die off, I'm not ready to fully buy into this idea that people say that the bowl games don't matter.
No, you're right. They do get big ratings. Everybody watches them during the holidays. I do like them going to the 12-team playoff, though. With more games.
Especially on campus, the first round being on campus. How fun. If Ole Miss gets to host a playoff game, that'll be electric. Yeah, it's December 20. It would be December 21st. So my friends and I are, already talking about, you don't want to, jinx the season, but we're trying to, in case this happens, have some kind of plan. Put it out into the atmosphere. Yeah, exactly. What's going to be interesting going forward, so, the 5 through 8 seeds get to host an on-campus playoff game. Then the quarters, semis, and finals are all neutral site bowl games. I think the on-campus games are going to be such a big hit that the quarterfinals, the 1 through 4 seeds, are going to want them next year. I think that's going to be how it morphs. Because, it's just, unfair. Who has money to travel all around the country for the quarters, semis, and finals, during the holidays? It's, kind of unrealistic. Well, and I just think, I've thought about this. So let's go back to last year in the NFL. One of the most anticipated matchups was the Rams-Lions with Matthew Stafford going back to Detroit. If that game would have been played at a neutral site, it does not hit the same. And so for me, it's just the idea of creating storylines and creating big moments is good for the sport. So I'm with you. I just think those on-campus games will be huge, and it'll be interesting to see the way that it plays out in years to come. Yeah, just college football to me, the on-campus, the rivalries, and that's what makes it. I'm not as into the neutral site thing, and I think people are realizing that. It's literally that's what makes the sport so unique, are literally the rivalries. And I'm so glad that a lot of these rivalries are playing again, Texas A&M back to Thanksgiving now that the SEC, Texas A&M have to play each other. Yeah.
You got to give the fans what they want. Yeah. I completely agree. So, I love I'm just getting so excited. So, I'm in that. I have chills. I know. I'm in that college football so much. I know. I'm in that, dog days of summer, getting super excited. I've been listening to SEC podcasts and, learning personnel and all that stuff. And, look, like you said, it's about 5 weeks away. We're kind of, getting there. But you still are obviously very busy with the Cubs in this meantime. So over the weekend, I hadn't done this since I moved here yet. I actually went to Wrigleyville Saturday night during the game, but didn't go to the game and just went out popping around.
Okay. Did you have a good time?
Hell yeah, I had a good time.
Good.
I know. I hadn't done that yet since I moved here. And just we went to like 7 different bars, and it was cool.
Okay. So there's a ESPN Sunday Night Baseball game coming up, and I was thinking about doing something like that, just hanging around Wrigleyville. I don't do it enough. I love to go grab dinner up there, like if it's a national game and we're not working and we're around, it's great, but I don't pop around Wrigleyville enough. It's such a fun atmosphere and everybody's just so happy and excited. So I need to get on board with that.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like you said, the Cubs having all those afternoon day games probably is good for your social calendar, I would think.
It really is. But I just don't spend it in Wrigleyville. The West Loop is kind of where everybody my age hangs out.
Yeah, I live West
I feel
Loop.
like Wrigleyville's a little younger crowd. Like, turns out I'm maybe older than people think. I don't want to reveal my age.
Yeah, I don't. You're not as old as this guy sitting in this chair. I can tell you that. I think I got a good bit on you, I'm sure.
No.
So you said you like hanging out West Loop, like Chicago-wise. Like, what do you have any? What are some of your favorite places?
Well, I love a good dinner. I love to do that on a Friday and Saturday after day games. I'm a big RPM fan. All of them, really. I love Chicago Cut. I mean,
what's RPM?
So RPM, you've never been like RPM Seafood or RPM Italian?
I have not.
Well, Mintzy, turns out I know where we're going to dinner. So
watch out.
Up.
Whoa.
Watch.
Whoa.
Bring your girlfriend.
Hey.
Bring a group of people. No, yeah, we got to go there. Like, especially RPM Seafood right on the water. It's great vibes.
Okay.
The food's great. So I love to do that. There's a ton of restaurants in the West Loop I really enjoy. Anywhere outdoors, like on a patio in the summer, I'm all for. I'm not picky. Like, I just love a good vibe, good people to hang out with, and like, I'm good.
I've been loving. I feel like I get like. It's kind of weak on my part. Like, I need to get out and explore the city more. But like you said, the West Loop thing's popping so hard. Like, I just go to Randolph Street and Fulton Market all the time. There's just so many good places. And it's awesome. I mean, it's like everything you could possibly want. It's just in that neighborhood.
Totally. Just walkable, right around there.
And Chicago music scene's great, too. I don't know. It's just, it's fun. Like I said, I knew it was the right move to move up here, but I'm enjoying it even more than I expected to.
Same. I knew I was going to really enjoy Chicago. It took a couple years for me because I moved in the middle of the pandemic. So to like meet people, sort of gain a life here and get back to normalcy took a little bit, but now I'm so happy. I feel like I am thriving, which I feel like you are too.
I think so.
And like, I feel like
every
Chicago
day
plays a big part of that because it just such positive vibes and yeah, it's great. I'm super happy.
The winter wasn't, it was milder this year. They said it wasn't too bad, but like the summer makes it all worth it.
And I cheat a little bit because I obviously am off in the winter. So like basically after my final bowl game in January-ish until March, like I'm off. I go down to spring training, but I go back to Colorado. So I love to go ski, get back home a little bit. So I kind of miss out on the winters. So I feel like I cheat a little bit because I just enjoy Chicago in the summer and then I get to leave in like the tough times. Yeah,
but it makes sense for your schedule. So do you do spring training too?
I do.
So you do spring training, baseball season, football season, and then you get like that, I guess, January to probably 6-week break, January to mid-February.
Yep, to go ski at as much POW as possible.
Nice. Where's your favorite places to ski in Colorado?
So I grew up, my family had a home in Breckenridge growing up. So I know that mountain like the back of my hand. But now I would say I ski the most at Vail and Crested Butte. I have one of my best friends lives in Crested Butte, so I basically just welcome myself to stay in her guest bedroom in the off season, and I just go up and stay with her and ski CB. And I've gotten really into the backcountry. So anywhere around CB has been a lot of fun, and anywhere I can just be outdoors where there's POW, like I'm in.
Heck yeah! So I would guess you're a really good skier.
Well, I think relative, like, I don't know how good you are, but I would say, people ask me this, and I'm like, I don't really know how to answer that. Like, I am friends with people who are legitimate professionals. So obviously, they're way better than me, but, like, I'm probably way better than you, and if you saw me, you'd be like, oh, she's really good. But, like, I'm not as good as people I know. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense. Well, I went when I was in high school once, and it was fun, but Like, I feel like I hate to be like paranoid and sound like this, but I feel like I'm just like most likely person to get hurt on a ski slope, and so many people have knee problems on them. So
you don't want to.
I'm retired. I'm gonna say
You'll après at the base.
No, do you snowboard too, or just?
I snowboard, yeah.
Okay.
I say skiing, but I'm really a snowboarder.
Okay.
I can ski. I grew up skiing, and then I switched to snowboarding in high school. So I can do both. Now I'm a much better snowboarder than I am a skier, but I say skiing still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. You get to do that every winter. And so
yeah.
you grew up doing the Red Rocks deal. That's God, I'm jealous of that. I mean, I try to go as much as I can. I just went a couple weeks ago. Still awesome. Just summer's Red Rocks is the best. Like that vibe at Red Rocks. So it's like these shows will start when it's daylight still. And then when it switches to night and like the energy changes, it's like magical. I don't know.
It's magical. And the way that the light reflects off the rocks and it's a natural amphitheater. It's so great. And it's my favorite place to watch a show ever. But can I tell you something? I don't know if you saw on Instagram, but I recently was in Jackson Hole.
Okay.
And I went to the venue at the top of Snow King Mountain in Jackson. It is amazing. So you're up there on the top of a mountain. So like for those not familiar with Jackson Hole, the town is actually called Jackson, Wyoming. It gets called Jackson Hole because that's the name of the ski resort. But the Jackson Hole ski resort is about 10-15 minutes out of the town of Jackson. In the town of Jackson, there is a smaller ski resort called Snow King. So at the top of Snow King in Jackson, they've built this music venue in the summer, and you're up there, and like your view is of the Tetons, and it is, oh my gosh, it's amazing. I just saw Portugal the Man there. String Cheese was there a couple weeks ago. That was how I found it. I didn't even know about it, but then I followed Cheese on Instagram, and they were posting about it. I was like, where is this place? I need to go. And then I realized I was going to be in Wyoming. Portugal the Man was going to be there. I was like, sign me up, I'll go.
Heck
so
yeah.
I love a good outdoor music venue, especially with the mountains. Ugh, I mean,
yeah,
that is my like zen.
Yeah.
I've never not been peaceful in a good music venue in the mountains.
Yeah, so it's like the summertime you did the music in the mountains and you did skiing in the winter. I mean, you can't.
Doesn't suck.
No, can't beat it. And so rest of the year, obviously real busy with the Cubs. Shout out, by the way, on the Cubs front. Marty Mush, one of our own, threw the first pitch at Wrigley Field last night.
Yesterday.
Yeah, he threw a strike.
I saw him. Okay, strike.
Yeah.
So the first pitch, but,
Justin Steele and him have a podcast up here.
Okay,
together. But I mean, that's pretty damn cool. Throwing the first pitch at Wrigley Field. I saw Marty in here yesterday. I was like, man,
let's go.
Like that is wild.
That's big time.
I know, that's crazy. So good for Marty on that front. Always amazes me some of the stuff the Barstool.
Would you throw a strike?
Yes, I've thrown a couple first pitches, but it
Okay.
hadn't been at Wrigley Field. Where'd I throw one? I threw one at a college baseball game in Louisiana. I threw one more that I threw a strike. I can't remember where. Gosh, I've done a couple of them. It's like a lob though. Like it isn't a direct strike. Like I could play. I was actually pretty good at tennis, but I think it kind of like messed up my rotator cuff to where I kind of like feels weird when I throw.
You gotta warm up. You can't forget to warm up.
No, that's okay. I'm trying to think. So you've got to do so much. You've mentioned your favorite places. Like, is there the Florida State one? Do you have any like particular? You mentioned Florida State. You mentioned the night game of Death Valley. Do you have any like particular like favorite games or twos you've gotten to call?
Oh, I did the Cotton Bowl when Tulane.
Oh wow! When they came back against Caleb Williams.
Against USC, and like that was insane because, to recap, Caleb Williams had just won the Heisman.
Mm-hmm. And they were up big.
They were up big, and it was like at the beginning of that game, we were thinking, here comes USC. Not only in this game, but like in the scope of college football, like they were kind of riding a high.
They had just missed the playoffs, losing to Utah.
The playoffs, and it was sort of like, okay, they're climbing, and this is like go time for SC. And then it was like Tulane starts to come back, and again, I had done a couple Tulane games that year, so I was familiar with Michael Pratt and that offense and Willie Fritz's creativity, and I was like, oh boy, like I've seen this script before, and I think this could end in Tulane's favor. And then they just kept rolling, and then they won, and so that was a really cool game.
That was a thrilling game.
That was a thrilling game. I enjoyed that. I mean, any of those big bowl games are fun just because they feel like a big deal, and when you're at AT&T Stadium, and like they get good crowds too, so that was really fun. I also did the Cotton Bowl this year with Ohio State, Missouri.
Low scoring game, but big win for Missouri.
Yeah, and it was like, who's going to play quarterback for Ohio State in the second quarter? I mean, I might get called in at this point because of the injuries and the transfer portal. That was a little crazy, but still a fun game. I'm trying to think. Obviously, having gone to Arkansas, anytime I get the chance to call a Razorback game is pretty special for me.
Oh, yeah. Do you still have a lot of friends in that area?
Totally, yeah. And I've actually not been able to do a game in Fayetteville yet. I've only had them on the road, so I'm hopeful that, soon I'll get to do a game in Fayetteville. I did Arkansas at Florida this year, and my dad had coached at Florida in the early 90s, and then I went to Arkansas. So, those were two of the SEC schools I grew up cheering for, so it was kind of yeah, it was really special for me because I had connections to both of those schools. To be able to do that game was special, and I can't remember if it was first. I think it was one overtime. It was either the end of the fourth quarter or one overtime. It was a nail biter down to the end, which was fun. So yeah, college football is just the best.
Is that your favorite? I mean, you obviously love it all. I guess it's got to be different. Pro baseball is great, but it's just there's so many games.
It's so different. Yeah, and I would say for me, one of the things I've really enjoyed about baseball is kind of nerding out and really diving into the information and challenging myself to try to grasp all of the information that's available to you and trying to dissect teams in different ways. Football is just not as much of a numbers sport. The numbers don't tell the story the way they do in baseball. And so, yeah, I've just enjoyed that aspect of baseball. It's cool, too, being with one team because you build real relationships with guys, whether that's the players, coaches, even the other broadcasters. You're just around so much. So you kind of ride the ups and downs of a season with a group, which is rewarding and special. Football is different just because you're diving into two new teams basically every week. So the relationships you build just aren't as strong because you don't see them as much. But
yeah, it's a different team every week.
Yeah, but the atmosphere of a game day in the South is unmatched, and a lot of that has to do with you're only going to get 5-6 home games, and so they're just built up to be these enormous events.
Do you have any particular favorite Cubs players, coaches, anything like that? I'm sure you get along with all of them, but
yeah, I would say the coaches that come to mind right now. I had a great talk with Mike Napoli the other day. Willie Harris is awesome. Ryan Flaherty's been great. Tommy Hotovy, honestly, all of them have been really great to me. We have a great group of guys in the clubhouse too. They've all just been really receptive to me, and I would say to our media in general. We have a good group of guys who get it, and it's been fun to cover. Unfortunately, the year hasn't gone the way that people would have hoped, but hopefully, still 60 games around.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of hype when Craig Counsell came over before this year. But yeah, still plenty of baseball out. I know I'm going to the Cubs Friday 1:20 game against the Blue Jays in a few weeks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we got a big crew coming up here. We're doing our big fantasy football draft weekend.
Heck yeah.
So I'm super excited about that.
What pick are you in the draft?
We do an auction draft.
Oh, okay.
So we do an auction. So it's everybody gets an amount of money and we bid. But
all right.
But it's been going on for 21 years. So
fun.
Yeah. So doing that, and then I'm just
did you see the guy the other day at Wrigley? It was on Saturday. It was a Fox game, so I wasn't working, but there was a guy dressed up as a clown because he had lost his fantasy football game. He had some sign on I'm an idiot at fantasy football or something, but what's the best thing you've had to do or make somebody do for losing fantasy football?
I'm not sure about me, but I saw a guy in Wrigleyville the other night that was a butler dressed up in a tux going around serving everyone. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I got last in my fantasy league last year. And so I thought that was pretty good.
My friends made the loser take the ACT.
Oh, wow.
And that was pretty funny. Just envisioning her walking into a classroom full of 17-year-olds and taking the test.
Did they take it seriously?
I don't think so and I don't actually
that sounds
know what
awful.
She scored. Yeah, in a long time commitment.
I'm currently doing we have a Mintzy Madison project going where I'm having to pass kindergarten through 12th grade right now to prove that I'm not a fool. And
how's that going?
I passed second grade the other day. They
God.
made me do an ice cream shop and count exact change, and it was quite a scene out here last week. The ice cream's melting, the money's flying everywhere. My thing I learned that day was if I walk in an ice cream shop, you're getting a big tip from now on. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That was my
Give
lesson.
the people the tips.
Yeah. Got to spread joy. Spread
the joy.
Spread the joy. And energy.
Also, coffee ice cream.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Huge fan.
Yeah, that's
by far my favorite type of ice cream.
Yeah, I love the coffee, and then my namesake, the mint chocolate chip.
Yeah,
you gotta go. With
you got it. Yeah,
gotta go with the mint's name.
Yeah, have to.
So rest of the summer, you're just obviously Cubs getting ready for football season.
So
that's what's up.
I have some exciting things coming up. Actually,
you were just in Colorado.
I was at Jackson and then Colorado. My family does a yearly camping trip, so that was really fun. Was up there. I am going to our college football seminar in a couple weeks, which super pumped about that. It's always kind of, the kickstart to college football. And then I'm going to Costa Rica.
Really?
For a bachelorette trip.
Pura Vida?
So that's going to be a lot of fun. Then I go back to Colorado for a wedding. So my August is, I'm taking some time off, going to do some fun things and kind of gear up for college football. So
how do you manage September with football and baseball?
Yeah, it's just work every day basically. But it's fun. I mean, honestly, it's not that hard. I would say the most challenging part is scheduling calls and Zoom calls because so we have our weekly Zoom calls with our crew, but then as the reporter, I set up calls with players on both of the teams I cover. And usually I talk to about 4 players from each team. So that's 8 phone calls throughout the course of a week that you have to schedule. And oftentimes the players want to talk after class, after practice in the evening. Well, that's when I'm working.
Okay.
And I'm doing Cubs games. So that part can be tough. Just I'm usually at Wrigley talking to, Matt Corral from Ole Miss, hey, tell me about this, typing on my computer. So just kind of scheduling that is the most challenging part. But I tell people it doesn't feel like work to me because I love it so much. So I feel fortunate.
Well, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Yeah. And that's saying. No, that's cool.
You love what you do too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I get to be myself for a living.
Before we were on the air, he was showing me around The Office.
Yeah, what'd you think? First time in the Barstool office, what'd you think?
It was so cool. And the full-on basketball court out there. Brandon Walker was getting his steps in.
Yeah, Brandon Walker up here exercising. People getting on him. He's saying he's trying to get.
He was exercising.
Yeah,
I can attest. And then you're oh yeah, I just sit on the couch here and hang out with these people, and I'm like, what a gig. Yeah, it's a great gig.
It is awesome. I mean, this is the Fantasy Factory office. I'm very lucky to be part of it. It's super cool. Like the Barstool momentum in Chicago's. It's been the right move.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all super positive. Well. As always, just want to say thank you. Any final parting shots? Anything you're going to leave Stoies with?
Well, maybe Brandon Walker and I should, have a friendly
bet on Arkansas, Mississippi State.
Yeah, who's going to have a better season? I think I'm going to go Arkansas.
Okay. Brandon, you hear that? Just calling you out. Some Arkansas, Mississippi State bet.
And maybe I will be fortunate enough to do the Arkansas Ole Miss game, and then we'll see.
Okay, if you do that, I'll try to make it.
Yeah,
How about that? I
still
need to make Fayetteville. I know I've got LSU and Baton Rouge October 12th on my calendar, and I think I'm doing the Black Friday Egg Bowl.
Nice. That's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, I like that they moved it off Thanksgiving. Thank God. I didn't like.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually looking at the schedule the other day, and I always look at games that I could potentially call, and it's stacked. Texas A&M. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a ton of fun.
Football season's coming.
I can't wait.
Yeah, we're gonna keep
I need a new sweater because this is the old 14 teams, but we added more. So
added
16
Oklahoma and
strong, baby,
Texas
in the SEC. Next time you see me, hopefully I have a new Southeastern Conference sweater.
There you go. Well, as always, big shout out to Tyler Moody holding down the fort in Louisiana. Loved having Taylor in here. Thank you for coming in, Taylor McGregor. Yeah, follow her on Twitter and Instagram at Taylor_McGregor. You can see her on the Cubs, reporting all the Cubs games and on the college football sidelines all fall. Tomorrow, another big show planned. We got a bunch of stuff going on this week. I want to mention before I get out of here, the Rat Race premiere. Join us tomorrow night at the Barstool Bar, River North. We got the Rat Race premiere, 7 o'clock. We got a whole crew of us that are involved in the show going to be there. So come see us at Stool River North. Really looking forward to that. And, as always, tons of stuff going on at Barstool. I got another big guest tomorrow for Wake Up Mintzy. I'll be putting that out here in a minute. Taylor, thank you so much.
Awesome.
I know you got a busy day. Tyler Moody, shout out. Dude White, Stella Blue. Y'all are all great. We'll see you guys tomorrow on Wake Up Mintzy.
Bye, everybody. Oh, that was so